Now, a daring prison break in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 6 hardened criminals managed to tunnel their way out of maximum security. But their run from justice came to a screeching halt right here in Texas. Of all Pittsburgh's landmarks, Three Rivers Stadium, home of the Steelers, is the best known. But just down the river is another landmark, Pittsburgh's legendary state prison. The fortress known as the Wall has loomed over the point of Pittsburgh's Three Rivers for over 100 years. Here on the morning of January 8th, 6 inmates executed a daring escape with frightening precision and tunneled their way to freedom.
Those of this group who were the masterminds of it certainly fit the definition of an evil genius.
Officials believe that the plot was hatched by these 2 men, both with a history of escape. Convicted burglar Nuno Ponce and a 66-year-old inmate serving life for murder, George Kennard.
He had previously escaped from this very prison in 1972. He had twice escaped from one of our other maximum security prisons.
Officials say the 2 recruited a team of specialists for the break. They were Carl Keller, serving life for murder. He worked in the prison machine shop. Kevin Billingsley, in for robbery, was a skilled welder. And 2 other robbers, Thomas Birkelbaugh and Andrew Hine. They worked in the laundry and would supply the team with clean clothes when they came out of the tunnel. Hine was also a car thief. He'd be providing transportation.
Ponce is the engineer in the group. Ponce had access to the area in which the tools were kept. He had a first-hand view of the area that they tunneled under. So he was critical to the enterprise.
Building 28 was the staging area for the escape. For the past 6 months, the inmates worked under the building in total secrecy. To get into Building 28, the inmates went down an external staircase in full view of the guards into the pump room. Once inside, they shimmied into a 3-foot crawl space that ran the length of the building. There, the inmates inched their way through a maze of electrical wires and heating pipes, a distance of 60 feet. Then the real work began, digging the tunnel.
It's extremely dangerous. There was no real shoring of the tunnel. This was just a hand-dug tunnel through the dirt, and there's always a possibility of a cave-in.
Working at an angle, they went under the access road that lay between Building 28 and the 40-foot-high prison wall. Underground, the mammoth wall extended another 13 feet. To clear it, the inmates dug 15 feet down. Once past the wall, they tunneled straight up into a warehouse outside the prison perimeter. Then the inmates bored through an 8-inch thick concrete floor using a power drill and a hydraulic jack. Then they climbed into the warehouse, changed their clothes, and in the shadow of the guard tower, just walked through an outside door to Beaver Avenue and freedom. Within hours, prison officials discovered the tunnel.
Very narrow, certainly no more than 3 feet at its widest point. There is little, if any, shoring. It is soft dirt. There is no question but that this was a very dangerous enterprise undertaken by very desperate men.
Immediately after the escape, the Pennsylvania State Police began a nationwide search for the fugitives, and they took the manhunt online.
It's the first time that Pennsylvania State Police have used the internet to search for escapees or fugitives. Within the first week, we have had in excess of 1,100 hits.
But in the end, it was good old-fashioned police work and a bit of luck that brought the fugitives down. Just 6 days after the escape, Thomas Birkelbaugh was picked up, acting suspiciously in a Houston bus station. 2 days later, he was back in Pittsburgh. Then on January 14th, a Texas state trooper caught murderer Carl Keller. Attempting to flee from a routine traffic stop, he was captured when he wrecked his stolen car.
We were able to take one into custody and the other escaped on foot into the woods.
Nuno Ponce was the second man in the car. He escaped, but not for long. Last Monday, the FBI followed another stolen car to a motel in Pasadena, Texas.
An undercover agent came to the front desk and said that he was checking for the people in room 129.
Inside room 129, the fugitives were sitting down to a chicken dinner. When 2 of them came out for drinks, the FBI and local police made their move.
7835, 26, 105. We rushed in through the door and took those two into custody and just fell in from there where the rest of them were apprehended.
And whenever I found out it was 129, I couldn't believe it because, you know, they were really polite and nothing out of the ordinary.
On Wednesday, less than 2 weeks after the break, the fugitives were headed back to prison. Back at the wall, inmates have been in lockdown since the escape. Officials admit that security was lax and fired the security chief. But that's only part of the problem. The prison is just too old.
It's over 115 years old. Anything that was built in 1886 is not state-of-the-art anymore. And it was built under a whole different concept of corrections.
Now officials say after 100 years, it's time to shut down Pittsburgh's legendary state prison, the one they call The Wall.